Ladies and gentlemen, week 3 is in the books. Jokic reigns supreme. Wemby, who was a bit quieter this week. We're going to take a look at this and what we've got coming up in week 4 right after this. Hello and welcome back to Ball Logic. I'm your host this evening, the Horse, and joining me is my man, Braino. How you doing, mate?
I don't know whether we can speak, can we? After you knock me off this weekend. Got me by 7 rebounds. I'm filthy about it. I had Andre Drummond ready to pick up on waivers, and I missed it by about a minute. Just not good. But mate, too good. Too good. Got me by 7 rebounds in the end. So and a little bit of a tactical sit on a few players at the back end of the matchup there to make sure you held on to turnovers. So well done.
Yeah, 100%. Oh, it's, I guess, for people that are watching at home, just because you've got players playing in your matchups doesn't mean that you need to play them. And if certain categories are getting close, like with ours today, I think there were 3 turnovers difference heading into the last game. So I ended up sitting the likes of Butler and Draymond Green, which counting stats wise, they would have been okay, but turnovers wise, that was going to be the difference between us. So something, I guess, to look forward to, I guess, or something to keep track of. If you at home, you're going close or your matchup's close and you need something, special to pull out your win at the end of the week, maybe that might be it. So I got a little bit of understanding and teaching, I guess, on that behalf, Brano.
Yes. It just pays to, I guess, keep an eye on your matchup the whole way through the week and not just kind of set your waivers at the start of the week and push on. There's still a lot to play out, and if you are getting a bit close on a few of those negative categories, then I think it's a good play to just get them off the board and not worry, especially if your counting stats are locked up. So no, you played it well this week. Too good. I was relying on a category that I was punting. So that's never good to get me a win. You ended up beating me in steals, flogged me in steals, which is the other category that's about a swing category for me in this league. So got me in the end. I'll get my revenge at the end of the season.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. I think this is one of the first times I've got you. So in the holster, I'll run with this for the next half an hour.
You can have it.
It's back to BAU. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't yet, like, subscribe, bell. Horse calls it the triple banger. Braino doesn't, but let's call it a triple banger for the purposes of this episode. If you're listening to us on audio, 5-star reviews helps us get out into the ears of people that love a bit of banter along with their NBA fantasy knowledge. Now, we've spoken about the League of Insight, but what we're going to do now is we're going to talk about injuries. And Tyler Hero, LeBron James. So they're coming closer now to returning from injury, Braino. Hero maybe only 2 weeks, LeBron maybe only a week, depending on how that injury management's going with the sciatica.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about these two guys week on week, to start the season, so I don't want to harp on about it again, but I guess, we're getting closer to that Austin Reeves sell period. The problem is all of his values diminished by missing most of last week, so he missed a whole week. So that definitely hurts for Austin. Hopefully he got off Austin Reeves really early when we suggested to sell higher about a week and a half ago, because that's only going to fall even further when LeBron's back in the mix. So time to get off if you haven't. Or you probably ride the wave from here and just see how it looks, because you're not really going to get much back for Austin Reeves at this point.
Probably not, no. Walker Kessler, he's done for the year. He's had shoulder surgery. So, unfortunately, for those that picked him up early in drafts, you can throw him back to the waivers because he isn't coming back. Jalen Green, he grabbed high on that hamstring. That's I've done a hamstring tendon before, and when you do it high, it takes a lot longer to recover from. They say reevaluation 6 to 8, but I reckon it's going to be closer to your 10 to 12.
It's not. It didn't look good, did it?
No.
And obviously you mentioned when you grab high on the hamstring, that is always, most of the time it's tendon involvement, which is especially for hamstrings, is just not good news. We're probably looking at 3+ months, I think, for Green. So I guess it probably just keeps Grayson Allen in the mix, really, doesn't it? As a streamable option, if he's around, you can grab him. They've got 4 games this week, so I don't mind that as an option. But back to Walker Kessler, I guess Yusuf Nurkic is the obvious one, and we've seen the benefit that Yusuf Nurkic had last week for Utah. Kyle Filipowski in maybe some deeper leagues. He started to get 20-plus minutes in the last couple of games since Kessler's been out. So I'd say they're the two beneficiaries for the most part.
For sure. Your man, Trey Young. I did it again, Youngie. 3 weeks. He's still to be on the sidelines for you. You're an Atlanta man. 3 weeks. Does that sound about right? Or do you think they'll go cautious with young Trey?
It's hard because we've actually been playing pretty well without him for the most part. Like, we've been getting wins on the board without Trey. So I think that's positive. Dyson Daniels done a really good job handling the ball, and I think he had 13 assists yesterday in that game without Trey. JJ will be back, I would assume, as of tomorrow. So, yeah, I don't think there's much to worry about. I think they'll want Trey back when he's fit, but I don't think they'll rush it this early in the season as well. Like, there's no point in rushing him back in game bloody 12. Like, there's just no benefit to that at all.
No, there's not. Brandon Miller still a week away. At least we've had some injury news there with that shoulder, so hopefully at the conclusion of this week we start to see him again. Benedict Mathurin, it's a funny one. So Carlisle's come out and said that he's going to be week to week with that injury, but with Indiana having not much to play for, can you see this stretching out?
Look, I still think that they're going to try and compete a little bit. Now Nembhard's back, that'll help. I still think that they're going to try for a bit. I don't think that this is just a green light for them to start tanking. It's way too early in the season. And Benedict Mathurin isn't exactly a game changer. He's not a superstar franchise player yet. So I don't think that there's any cause for concern. I don't think I'd be too panicky about him. He'll be back when he's back. It doesn't really mean too much for Indiana, in my opinion. Now that Andrew Nembhard's back, though, I think they'll probably just try and at least get a few wins and see how they go for the next couple of months.
For sure. And the news out of Brooklyn is that Cam Thomas has done a hamstring injury. It is 4 weeks, they're saying, but I would tend to err on the side of caution. We've seen what rushing Jalen Green's done for the Phoenix Suns, and in particular Jalen Green himself with the re-aggravation of that hamstring. So if they say 4, I'd be more inclined with Brooklyn not really having much to play for. Be closer to 6 weeks, if you ask me.
And normally hamstrings, if it's a grade 2 hamstring, you're probably looking closer to 6 than 4 weeks. I'm no professional athlete myself, or not anymore, but especially in a sport where it's so stop-start, acceleration's really important. Speed off the mark is really important. It's very rare to see a guy with a grade 2 hamstring tear come back from within that 4-week period. So, and plus Brooklyn have really fuck all to play for. We talked about Indiana maybe trying to still compete, but Brooklyn have pretty much hung the queue in the rack already. Michael Porter Jr.'s just started taking fucking 20 shots a game, and Yegor Dorman is starting at point guard just to give him some reps now. I think they've probably just leaned into the fact that it's nearly just call it a year. And try and get a number 1 draft pick, because the next year's draft is going to be pretty competitive. It's going to be a good draft to be a part of in the lottery. So I would say that, it's all but done for Brooklyn.
It's a bumper. It's going to be an absolute bumper draft, this next one. So you're absolutely bang on there. They're the injuries that we're going to go through. Of course, there are other injuries, but we've only got a certain amount of time that we have to go through them. If you'd like to know more about injuries, return dates, anything like that, our Patreon is available for all of you at home for a third of a cup of coffee per month. You get access to everything we do every day, every night, our moves, everything. It's all there. So the link is in the description below. Feel free to check it out. You can also join for free and check out some of our free articles. Braino, we're now going to get into our weekly preview.
He's heating up.
And what we're going to do now, mate, is get straight into our weekly preview for week 4, mate. So it starts off with a 9-game week, and there's probably, you'd be safe to say, 3 main streaming days here, being your Tuesday being 6 games, your Thursday being 3 games, and your Saturday being 5 games. Not really targeting any other days unless you need a particular category at the end of the week.
Yeah, you might have a roster spot free on the Monday, Friday, Sunday, maybe. So obviously just be flexible and have a look at what your roster needs, not based on our graphic. The green days are definitely going to be days you want to target. We'll talk about the quality days a little bit later, but yeah, that Wednesday is probably the only day where I'd say don't even bother. For the most part, you've only got 6 teams in the league not playing on this day, so I would assume that you're going to have to make some start-sit decisions on that Wednesday rather than worrying about who you're bringing off waivers.
For sure. We see the back-to-backs here. So these are the teams that are playing your back-to-back schedules. We're going on American days as well here. So your Monday, Tuesday, the Utah Jazz. Tuesday, Wednesday, the New York Knicks, the Boston Celtics, Memphis, Golden State Warriors, Sacramento, and Denver. Wednesday, Thursday, Cleveland, Phoenix, and Atlanta. Into your Friday, Saturday, being Charlotte, Milwaukee, Lakers, and Minnesota. And at the back end of the week, we're looking at the Clippers, Dallas, and Chicago. With the Clippers, not in particular, but the Clippers, the Lakers even, Golden State especially, they tend to sit some of their older players quite frequently on the back-to-backs, don't they?
Yeah, they do. I mean, look, with Luka nursing a bit of a groin, you just don't know what's going to happen there. It wouldn't surprise me at all if he cops a rest, especially on the back-to-back. They've got a back-to-back Friday, Saturday, like you mentioned there. Mm-hmm. And all 4 of their games this week are away. So they're on a pretty long road trip now before they end up back at home next Tuesday. So, look, honestly, don't be surprised if Luka plays 3 games this week, which is still fine. It doesn't matter. We're talking about Luka Doncic here. It doesn't really matter when he plays. You keep him. But, I would be cautious somewhat, especially of the older players. We've seen Steph sit a week because of COVID, and obviously that's not age-related, but it can just happen to anybody. So no need to panic just yet. But, the Clippers are more of a concern for me, if I'm completely honest. Like, James Harden missed some games from personal reasons last week, and obviously we don't know what they are, but, maybe that'll pop its head up again this coming week. Bradley Beal has been anything but reliable. Even when he had the opportunity with basically everybody out, he couldn't put it together. He's been on a minutes restriction. Kawhi Leonard's got an ankle injury, and he's missing some time as well. So it's just a complete shit show. And honestly, I didn't think we would be here that quickly, talking about how the Clippers have already fallen apart injury-wise. I thought it'd take us some time, but here we are.
Week 3, and it's already happening. That's right. We know now that in week 4, it is only the Philadelphia 76ers that are on 2-game week this week. So if you're looking to stream anyone from there, you'd want to be pretty selective, I reckon, on what days and in particular category that you're looking at. Is there anyone off the top of your head that you'd be looking to stream from the Sixers apart from maybe Andre Drummond if you're chasing rebounds?
Yeah, look, I mean, Adem Boner's not really doing that good of a job when it comes to that kind of stuff anyway. Like, I feel like if it's just Drummond. Yeah, it's just Drummond, to be honest. Like, there's nobody else here that even Trenton Watford, he was great for a game and he got a triple-double, but then he went back to doing sweet FA. Yeah, so anybody who picked him up off waivers for today's games would have been pretty disappointed that he didn't put up that kind of total again. But yeah, I think it's just Drummond. And if he's on the waiver wire, I think he'll still be relevant this week and still a guy that you can probably lean on a little bit. But there is a 3-game gap between Tuesday and Friday. We did talk about the games to target earlier on if we move back to that. So they play on the Tuesday 6-game day and then Friday 9-day game day. So they're still streamable options. It's just obviously you're probably going to have to get off and get back on somewhat if that's the case, if you're going to bring one of them in.
100%. 3-game week belongs to Boston, Brooklyn, Chicago, Denver, Detroit, Houston, Indiana, Memphis, Miami, Minnesota, New York Knicks. Okay, so I should have just written every team here. Toronto and Washington. They are the teams that are on 3-game weeks. We know that Philadelphia is on a 2-game week. So everyone that I did not mention is on a 4-game week. Now we're talking about quality games here, Braino.
Mm-hmm.
So we're talking Toronto, Utah, Cleveland, Indiana. Now I've underlined Toronto because if we go back to our daily week 4 preview for the week, Toronto play on Tuesday, they play on Thursday, and they play on Saturday. So they're the pick of the teams for me. If you want good quality games out of your streamable targets, Toronto Raptors plays this week. If Jakob Poeltl is out, you've got your Colin Murray-Boyles types of plays. If you need threes, depending on if Grady Dick's in form, if he's available, they're your streamable targets for this week.
Yeah, if you need some assists, Jamal Sheed's been doing a job behind Emmanuel Quickley, so he's not a bad little pickup there in deeper leagues. Achai Agbaji has been all right as well. He's been getting a spot start over the last couple of weeks. They're probably the options. I mean, if you're in really deep leagues, maybe Mamakalashvili, he becomes kind of partially relevant.
Can you say that again?
No, you only get it once an episode, mate. So
Okay, sorry.
I was practicing for half an hour before the show, so I don't want to muck that up. But no, look, it's Toronto. Also, they're on a 3-game week, which is fine. But you from your waiver wire pickups, you want guys that you can pick up and potentially hold for 2 or 3 games, and you've got that in the Toronto Raptors this week with their schedule. You can sit them on the Wednesday when you're not going to need them on that high volume day, and then either side of that, they're usable in pretty much whenever you're going to need them. So works out well.
100%. And if there is no one from Toronto, Utah, Cleveland, and Indiana are your teams that have quality games on those days. So they play on 2 of those 3 days that we aforementioned previously. Now, Braino, anything to add before we hit the waiver wire?
No, mate, let's do it.
Targets acquired.
So we're going to hit the waiver wire, mate. And we're talking threes and points. So if you're targeting points and threes this week, these are your players. Colin Sexton, 29%. Aaron Naismith from the Indiana Pacers, 29%. And we did just mention that they've got some key games this week. DeAndre Hunter, still only 27%, Braino.
Yeah, that's surprising. I'm assuming at 27% of competitive leagues in Yahoo. So, yeah, he needs to be on a team somewhere. He's started every game since he's been back for the most part. Like, I think he's a great option. He's been putting up points too. It's not like we're just picking him up as a stream and drop. Like, he's a genuine holdable player, especially with the Cleveland Cavaliers. They play, I think they've got, 15 games in the next 4 weeks? So they've got a really nice stretch of games over the next month. So he's a potential hold.
For sure. Reed Shepherd, Houston Rockets, 27%. Kyle Kuzma, I feel so dirty. But he's been shooting the ball all right.
Yeah, it's flash in the pan. I'm not going fucking anywhere near him.
Yeah, no, neither am I.
Garbage.
Yeah. Isaiah Joe, 15%. OKC Thunder. Jeremiah Fears, he's got a couple of 4-game weeks in a row. He's getting the start there at the New Orleans Pelicans at the moment as well. Sam Merrill loves a 3, shooting it well at the moment from Cleveland. And also Gary Trent Jr. at only 10% owned. Our rebounds, the big cork. Ryan Corkbrenner from Charlotte, still only 30% owned. Unreal, isn't it?
Yeah, look, and again, I guess we're looking at this threshold, really, aren't we? This kind of 30% threshold seems to be around that number, and that's probably what we try to work off with waiver wire ads. Is anyone more than 30% owned, they're probably owned in or rostered in most competitive leagues out there, especially 12-team leagues. So, yeah, I mean, look, if you're playing in an 8-team league or a 10-team league, maybe he's there, but I think it's probably rare to see any of those guys in 12-team leagues or above.
For sure. With Jalen Green out, I believe Royce O'Neal from the Phoenix Suns could be a good streamable target. He gets your assists, he gets your points, he gets your threes, he gets your rebounds. He's a bit of a jack of all trades, master of none type of operator. Isaiah Jackson, 17%. Musa Diabate, the running mate of Corkbrenner, he's at 13%. Andre 3000, Andre Drummond, 8%. Jay Huff, he got 11, 12 boards today, Braino. Not too bad for a stretch big, 5%. And someone who I really like, and he's been playing with energy and doing a good job, Jalen Smith from the Chicago Bulls, only 2% owned.
Yeah, getting some minutes off the bench there, Jalen Smith. So, good spot for him to be in. And, usually a good production guy in lower minutes, usually gets the job done, gets some good boards for you. So, Isaiah Jackson's a funny one, isn't it? Because everyone jumped off really early in the season. People probably drafted him around the 120, 130 mark, where it's about his ADP for the most part. And he's come good over the last few weeks. So,
averaging about 8.5 boards a game, yeah.
Yeah, he's looked much better. It took him a while to settle in, and of course we probably should have expected that, knowing he's coming off an Achilles and a kind of limited preseason. So, Jay Huff though, I don't remember the last time he got 12 boards. I think he also got 4 blocks the other day too. So he's got a nice, really nice run, Jay Huff. So coming up, I think he plays 2 of the 3 games of the week, doesn't he? Yep. So not a bad little pickup if you need. I don't know. I'd probably look at him as more of a boards and threes streamer than a rebound streamer. But look, if you think the 12 boards is going to stick, then go nuts.
100%. Assist, D'Angelo Russell is at 30%. Davion Mitchell still 26. I know you rave about Davion Mitchell being one of the best on-ball defenders in the league. To get those assist numbers as well, pretty handy for the guy out of Miami.
Yeah, very good. We've talked about Tyler Hero coming back for a couple of weeks now. That obviously this time is limited somewhat, but yeah, great assist and great steal streamer for at least another week, hopefully. So yeah, safe this week, I think.
Nikola Jovic. This is a tricky one because without Bam, and it's unknown how long Bam's out for, I should have added him to the injury report, but he's got that foot injury. If he stays out, this opens the door for someone like Jovic to be able to play that point forward. Again, jack of all trades, master of none type of operator. Only 18% owned at the moment.
Yeah, Jovic is a funny one. I drafted him in the league and dropped him just because he was just showing me absolutely nothing. The minutes were shit, and then Bam got injured, so it opened a door for him. But I'm still concerned. He put up a big game, a massive game recently, nearly triple-double type numbers with 2 steals and a block, and everything looked amazing. It looked like the Nikola Jovic I drafted, knowing that he could do this kind of stuff and put up this production. But I think temper your expectations on Jovic. This isn't going to be something he does regularly. I saw he's like the 3rd most added player in Yahoo leagues at the moment. I am a little bit concerned people are just chasing last night's production rather than looking at the opportunity itself. So there's a couple, 100%. maybe the guy underneath him I might prefer until we get some news on Zion.
Derek Queen. Yeah, so it does sound like Zion and Jordan Poole are both going to be reevaluated on Friday. So we could get a couple of nice games out of Derek Queen. So if he's available on your waivers, this guy, again, rebounds, assists the ball well, can play defense. He's got some nice touch around the rim as well. 9% rostered at the moment.
Very solid player. And of course, we had concerns in the preseason around how Derek Queen and Zion would play together, and we don't have to worry about that for a bit. So let him have his opportunity, let him go out and take some shots and just get used to the pace of the NBA. And for this week, I would be very surprised if we see Zion back this week. He's a pretty solid play this week, I think.
For sure, mate. Terrence Mann, if you're looking for someone from Brooklyn, personally, not for me, but 9% owned, and Cole Anthony. 4-game week for Milwaukee Bucks, he's at 7% owned. Steals, Cassim Wallace, still only 32% owned, but no doubt people are just streaming him in for those steal numbers. Very good at stealing the ball and not real good at much else. Josh Minott from the Boston Celtics, still 23% owned. He laid an absolute egg today. Gary Trent Jr., Alex Caruso, and Lou Dort, the bum buddies from the OKC Thunder, 12 and 7% owned. Keon Ellis, though, he's not really getting much of a run at Sacramento at the moment, is he?
No, he's not. Funnily enough, drafted him in a league as well. Maybe that tells you how many leagues I'm in. But he was dropped very, very quickly. So the minutes aren't there. Russell Westbrook hasn't helped his case. He's been fantastic, especially this week aside from last game. So yeah, Keon Ellis is great as a seal streamer if you really need some. But aside from that, there's no value there.
Yep. And someone that I like for defense, not just for steals, but for blocks as well, is Peyton Watson from the Denver Nuggets. 1.7 steals he's averaging per game at the moment, 2% owned.
He's put up some decent minutes too the last couple of games, which is really positive. I know like when Aaron Gordon missed a game, he obviously did a really good job there. I think 27 and 22 minutes in his last couple. So, a great option. Definitely, I think there was... I think he was averaging like a block and a half a game over that period of time too. So yeah, really, really solid option there for steals, blocks. You get you a couple of threes as well. So pretty solid.
And that's not just a once-off. He was doing this last year as well on minimal minutes as well. So he's very much an impact type player in his per minute production. And finally for blocks, you've got Corkbrenner at 30%, Isaiah Stewart injured at the moment, 23%. Dan Gafford's only at 20% though, Braino.
Yeah, I think it's obviously a lot of people didn't draft him. He was sitting on waivers for a while because he was injured to start the year, and then Derek Lively was out, and then, they were both out for a while there. So now Gafford is the guy that gets as many of the minutes as he can, but he's just not a big minute guy. He's also not a huge rebounder either, but he'll definitely get you blocks and protect the rim. So yeah, a good shout there, along with Isaiah Jackson, we mentioned previously. And Mitch Robinson, who's still only around 11% rostered at this point in time, which, probably want to be fair, I think the last 3 guys could be the 3 best block streamers on the wire at the moment.
Mitch Robinson, 11%, Andre 3000, that is Andre Drummond, 8%, and Jay Huff at 5%, round us out. Braino, that's going to do us for tonight. Where can the good people at home find you on socials?
Everywhere. You can find me on X, Instagram. Yeah, Brain Talks Ball is the tag, so go and give me a follow, and make sure to follow Ball Logic as well. It's Ball Logic NBA on X and Instagram. We've got a great team of people and experts that do a lot of good stuff on socials as well as on the podcast, so go and check them out as well. What about yourself, mate?
Oh, just anywhere as well. X, I still call it Twitter. I guess that shows my age. Instagram, Facebook. homing pigeon, however you want to get in touch with me, go nuts. But you're right, we do have a good team here at Ball Logic doing a lot of good work behind the scenes, not just on the socials. So if you'd like to keep in touch with us every day, if you'd like to know our waiver wire ads and drops and what have you, everything NBA fantasy related, the link to our Patreon is down below. There are a couple of free articles. If you just want to have a bit of a squiz and have a read and see whether it's for you or not, the link is in the description below. But for this video, like, subscribe, bell. Even if you want to give us a bit of a hype, scroll it across, hype it up, helps us get out to those that love their NBA fantasy. But also, if you're listening to us on audio, the 5-star review helps us out immensely. But for tonight, this has been Braino on the horse, and we'll catch you again tomorrow night. Take care.